Crimson eyes glint in the shadow of the mountains. Horns curl like veins atop twisted heads. The air vibrates with the echo of claws on stone and the mournful wails of the lost. To some, they are monsters born of nightmares. To others, they are spirits of wrath, punishing the wicked, demanding retribution. They are called Oni. Tonight, we dive into a world where fear wears flesh and justice carries a blade, where ancient gates stand at crossroads, marking the boundary between human folly and supernatural wrath. Once, they were human too, men and women twisted by rage, grief, or the sins of their village. Now, they are towering figures of red and blue, carrying iron clubs, guarding the balance between vengeance and mercy. In this tale, the Oni are more than demons. They are mirrors, reflecting the darkness we deny in ourselves. Born from wrath, fed by sorrow, standing at the threshold between worlds, this is the Oni's story. Long before villages whispered their names in fear, long before mountains echoed with their thunderous footsteps, Oni were not demons, they were humans. Men and women whose hearts buckled under grief, whose rage devoured mercy, whose sins became their flesh. In some legends, the first Oni were souls who could not rest, condemned to roam in forms as cruel and relentless as their inner darkness. Others claim they were born from the earth itself, shapes molded from volcanic rock, infused with the blood of storms, their cries carried on the wind like rolling thunder. Villagers spoke of gates at crossroads, demon gates, or kimon. Shadows gathered there at midnight, twisting in shapes no mortal could fully comprehend. To cross one was to invite transformation. A man could leave with fire in his eyes, or return forever changed. Horns sprouting, skin reddened or blued, sinew hardened into iron. Some say the gates pulse with a life of their own, feeding on fear, judging worth, measuring who among mortals is too weak, too cruel, or too desperate. Those who stumble unwittingly through these thresholds often vanished, leaving only echoes of their screams in the night. Oni are the children of human folly and cosmic law. They are wrath given form, punishment given muscle. Clad in tiger skin loincloths, wielding Konobo clubs heavy enough to crush stone, they stride between the living and the dead, the human and the divine. Yet even in their fury, a strange purpose lingers: to maintain balance, to punish cruelty, to protect what the world has left uncorrupted. Where the demon gates open, fear walks alongside opportunity. The Oni waits, patient, merciless, eternal. And somewhere in the shadows, it watches, deciding who will become monster and who will become prey. A mask can hide more than a face. It can hold fear, hope, and a spark of something supernatural. In a small town where the streets whispered with secrets, a young girl left home each day to work at a lady's house, earning coins for her ailing mother. She carried with her a fragile comfort, a mask of her mother's face, painted with love and longing, pressed to her lips in the quiet hours after labor. It was her talisman, her connection to the one she loved, and her only solace in a world that seemed cold and indifferent. Curiosity, however, can be cruel. One day, her co-workers played a trick. The mother's mask was replaced with a grotesque Oni mask, horns curling like shadows, eyes glowing with menace. The girl's heart clenched. The Oni stared back, and she saw not a prank, but a sign of her mother's worsening condition. She fled the house, crying out to her employer, desperate to reach home. Along the way, fate twisted further. A group of men gambled by a fire and forced her to tend the flames, ignoring her pleas. The fire roared, licking at her hands and feet. Fear surged, but instinct prevailed. She donned the Oni mask, letting it shield her from the blaze. In that moment, something shifted. The men recoiled, seeing only a towering Oni reflected in the firelight, radiant and terrifying. They scattered, abandoning their coins in frantic terror. The girl, safe and undaunted, gathered the prize and ran toward her mother. At home, she found her mother healthier than ever. The mask had protected her, the fire had tested her, and the abandoned coins ensured she could care for her mother without returning to the laborious house. The Oni mask, once a symbol of terror, had become a guardian, a reminder that courage and cleverness can bend even the darkest forces to one's will. Even monsters have hearts, and some tears burn hotter than any fire. In a distant valley, where mountains clawed at the sky and the mist rolled like restless spirits, lived the Red Oni unlike the others. Towering, horned, and fierce, he struck terror into villagers with every step. Yet inside his chest beat a longing that no mortal could see. Unlike his kin, who thrived on vengeance and wrath, he craved friendship, laughter, and understanding. But such desires made him weak in the eyes of his brethren. He wandered the forest alone, his massive fists leaving cracks in stone, yet unable to crush the ache in his own heart. Sometimes he would approach a village, peering from the shadows, only to retreat when fear shone in the eyes of children. One night, beneath a moon veiled in blood-red clouds, he wept. Crimson tears streaked his cheeks, hissing as they touched the earth. Trees recoiled, the river churned, even the wind seemed to pause, listening to his sorrow. A young boy, braver than most, stumbled into his path. Rather than striking, the Red Oni lowered his head, allowing the boy to see the truth. Not a demon of mindless rage, but a being shackled by loneliness, yearning for connection. The boy, trembling yet unafraid, offered a simple gesture, an outstretched hand. In that moment, the valley held its breath. The Red Oni's tears dried, replaced by a strange warmth. And for the first time, he felt seen. He did not vanish, nor did he rage. He simply lingered at the edge of the forest, a protector in red, a creature both feared and understood. The story of the Red Oni Who Cried reminds us that even the fiercest exterior can hide tender truth, and that empathy can transform terror into trust. Every hero needs a monster to slay. But what if the monster was never a villain? On a remote island off the coast of Japan, the Oni lived in uneasy peace. They were outcasts, creatures of crimson skin and iron horns who once walked among humans before being driven away by fear and legend. Their island was not a fortress of cruelty, as stories would later claim, but a refuge. Here, the Oni kept to themselves, forging tools, tending fires, and protecting treasures left behind by those who had cast them out. Then came the boy from the peach, Momotaro, born of divine providence, raised by kind villagers. He was taught from infancy that the Oni were evil incarnate. When he grew strong, he set sail with a dog, a monkey, and a pheasant at his side, banners fluttering in the wind, righteousness blazing in his eyes. The Oni watched from the cliffs as the ship approached. They did not attack first. Some even believed he came to speak, to negotiate, to end the curse that bound them to exile. But when the first arrow struck, hope dissolved into smoke. The island burned. Blood met seawater, and the cries of the Oni rose into the heavens. When the battle ended, Momotaro returned home, hailed as a hero, the savior who purged evil from the land. But those who had seen the truth whispered another tale, that the boy had slain not monsters, but those who had once been human. That the treasure he took was not gold, but offerings of peace meant for forgotten gods. In the end, the Oni were not vanquished, they were misunderstood. Their ashes drifted into the sea, mingling with the waves that still whisper when the wind is right. Every hero's light casts a shadow, and sometimes the shadow we fear is our own. The Oni is not only a creature of legend, it is the reflection of the fury we hide, the guilt we carry, and the pain we try to bury. Across centuries, the Oni has endured, not merely as a monster of myth, but as a mirror of the human soul. In its red skin burns the heat of rage, in its horns the weight of guilt, in its iron club the burden of consequence. The Oni does not appear without reason. It is summoned by imbalance, by injustice left unanswered, by emotions left to rot. In that sense, the Oni is not our enemy, it is our echo. In Buddhist lore, Oni guard the gates of hell, punishing the wicked and devouring the souls of the cruel. Yet their punishment is not chaos, it is order, a grim reminder that every action carves a path, and every sin bears a shape. To fear the Oni, then, is to fear accountability, to recoil from the parts of ourselves that demand confrontation. In art, theater, and ritual, the Oni mask has evolved beyond terror. It has become a symbol of strength, protection, and the courage to face one's inner darkness. Samurai once wore them into battle, not to invoke evil, but to channel power, to remind themselves that fear can be wielded as a weapon. Even today, its visage lingers in tattoos, festivals, and stories told under lantern light, representing the eternal struggle between our better nature and our monstrous instinct. The Oni endures because it is us, the storm that brews beneath calm words, the shadow behind the smile. It waits in every heart, silent and patient, until the day we forget that monsters were once human too. The Oni endures not because it lurks in mountains or temples, but because it lives within us. It is anger unspoken, sorrow unhealed, vengeance untamed. In every myth, it is both punishment and possibility, the reminder that what we fear most is often what we refuse to face. They were once human after all, and perhaps in some way they still are. So when you hear the wind howl through the night, or see shadows ripple beyond the lantern's glow, remember the stories. Remember the gates that stand unseen, waiting for those who wander too far from balance. For monsters are never born, they are made. And sometimes they wear our faces. If you felt the chill of this tale, remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more journeys from the unknown. And as always, don't forget to look beyond the fog.